Hey guys, welcome back to Lab Cyber. Hope you're staying safe in the world wherever you are. Something very interesting happened yesterday, and that is the fact that Donald J. Trump, yes, the president of the United States, his website got hacked for a few minutes by some cryptocurrency scammers. Now, this is the actual page that was hacked. It was the about page on his website. And instead of seeing this, all this content, this is what you would see instead. It says, this site was seized. The world has had enough of the fake news spreaded daily by President Donald J. Trump. It is time to allow the world to know truth. So basically, here they claimed most internal and secret conversations, strictly classified information is exposed, proving that the Trump government is involved in the origin of the coronavirus. So basically, these guys were claiming to have some inside knowledge about how Donald Trump actually invented the coronavirus, and they wanted to get some payment from people via cryptocurrency, of course. And then if they got enough of the payment, they will then expose, Donald J. Trump to the entire world. And now the hack got taken down within a few minutes. It didn't last very, very long. But I found this story to be very, very fascinating because his website was actually protected quite well, and I'll tell you why in just a second. But also, what I found fascinating was the fact that his website was built using a particular CMS I have never used before called Expression Engine. Now, if you know me, I also build websites. And I have used HTML, CSS, I've used WordPress, Drupal, Joomla. This is the first time I had ever heard of a CMS called Expression Engine. Now, I don't know how vulnerable Expression Engine is to hacks, I don't know. But I found it fascinating that they did not use WordPress to build his website. What I also found interesting is the fact that they actually hosted his website. I'm talking about the developers of his website now. They hosted his website using Cloudflare. Now, if you don't know Cloudflare is a company that specializes in network and server security. So what happens is when you host your website with Cloudflare, what's going to happen is that ideally, originally, if a user tries to access your website, it is going to be your web server that will pass the content to the user directly, right? But what Cloudflare does is that Cloudflare will have its own server sit in between the user trying to access your website and the real web server hosting your website. So basically, Cloudflare is like a barrier. It's like an extra layer of security shielding your real web server from the internet. So the fact that they hosted Donald J. Trump's website with Cloudflare shows that they actually put in some good security on the website. Plus, let me also say this. Expression Engine, just like with WordPress, Joomla, has a back end that the owner of the website can directly access his content. So for example, here is a WordPress website, right? If I wanted to access the back end of this website, just like with any WordPress website, I would simply say /wp-admin, and then this will take me to the back end where I can then enter my username and the password to gain access to the website, right? So Expression Engine is no different. Expression Engine also has a particular page that you can go to access the back end. I did my research, and it turns out that if you simply went to admin.php, you would be able to gain access to the back end of the website. Of course, you'll have to add in your admin username and your password. So I tried it with Donald Trump's website. So right here, I went to /admin.php. So here is me trying to access the backend. And when I pressed enter, it didn't take me to the page where I would add the username and the password. It took me to this 404 page, which honestly, I think is very, very hilarious. I know Donald J. Trump is one of the most disliked, one of the most hated people in the world. Whether or not the hate is justified, that's another discussion entirely. But personally, I think the man can be very, very funny sometimes. And this 404 page is really, really hilarious. You have Joe Biden, the person that is running against him for presidency, and you have the message here saying, "It appears you as lost as me." This is a very, very funny 404 page if you ask me. But on a more serious note, you can see right now that it's not easy to gain access to Donald Trump's website, they actually put in some pretty decent security controls in place. So how is it possible that the hackers were able to gain access to his website? Now, there's basically two ways how this could have happened. Number one, they were able to gain access to the actual IP address of the real web server hosting his website. I don't think that is likely because of the fact that they used Cloudflare. In order for the hackers to have gained access to the real IP address of his website, of the web server hosting his website, they would have had to pass through Cloudflare security, which is a very, very difficult thing to do. What I think happened most likely was that they were able to guess the actual real URL, the actual real URL for the back end of his website, and then they were able to guess the right username and the password. Now, the reason why I think this is what likely happened is because, believe it or not, Donald Trump's Twitter account has been hacked not once, but twice by the same person in the past 4 years. Now, back in 2016, a Dutch security researcher was able to gain access to his Twitter account by simply guessing the password, and the password was "you are fired," which is kind of funny because Donald Trump used to host this particular show on TV called The Apprentice, and in The Apprentice, at the end, he will say, "You're fired." He will fire somebody, "You're fired.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired."
This researcher was able to simply guess the password, "you're fired," and he was able to gain access to his account for a few minutes. Now, again, in 2020, this same researcher was able to gain access for a second time by simply guessing the password MAGA 2020, which is very, very funny because MAGA is also Donald Trump's slogan, "Make America Great Again," and then 2020. So it's really funny that this same researcher, Victor Gervais, or however you pronounce this, was able to gain access twice to his account. So in all likelihood, I'm thinking that Donald Trump probably had a very weak username and password for the back end of his website, and the hackers were simply able to guess them and gain access. I think that's what actually happened. Although, you might also argue that I don't think Trump is going to be the one adding content or managing his website. He probably had other people doing that for him. So will they have used a weak username and a weak password? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But it's fascinating, and that's exactly what happened. Now, regarding who may have been able to hack his website, we don't really know who did this, but it is believed that it's probably foreigners because the English here isn't good. Like, for example, they use the word spreaded instead of spread. Instead of spreaded, it's not an English word, it's spread. And then it is time to allow the world to know truth. This doesn't sound like what a native English speaker would say. So it is believed that the hackers were probably foreign, maybe from Eastern Europe or China, or who knows, wherever they may have come from. So that's basically what happened with Donald J. Trump's website. If you enjoyed the video, do give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or any comments, if you have an opinion on how his website may have been hacked, of course, put your comments down in the comment section below. If you've ever used Expression Engine before, do let me know as well. I'd love to know what your thoughts are and how powerful it is. So that's it for today's video. Do have a good one, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.